Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to tit-bits on business and finance with me. With each daily increase in the prices of diesel, petrol and gas, it is certainly getting much better for the government's state of finances, which has anyway been very tight-fisted so far, completely unwilling to provide a direct fiscal stimulus to a struggling public. With the economy looking up after the second COVID wave and the government keeping its expenses under a tight leash and under a tight control, the state of the government finances have shown a steady improvement of late. The improved fiscal situation is reflected in the burgeoning tax collections and in the government's control over the fiscal deficit, which at the moment is at an 18-year best for a mid-year review. The recent tax figures show a boom in the government's collections of direct as well as indirect taxes. The tax collections have improved significantly because of the stringent compliance measures imposed by the government, because of the comprehensive GST anti-tax measures, anti-evasion measures, especially against the fake billers, and much better income tax collections by way of TDS and also by way of advance tax. The fact that there has been a sharp and continued rise in the excise duty levied on petrol and diesel has immensely helped to augment the government revenues even during an economic slowdown. Because despite the slowdown, we do continue to consume petrol and diesel on our vehicles, and the government finances do continue to go up. It may be noted that the excise duty on petrol has been increased from rupees 19.98 a litre in April 2020 to rupees 32.9 a litre now. And in the case of diesel, the increase has been from rupees 15.83 per litre to rupees 31.8 per litre now. That's been the kind of jump within a year of duties levied on petrol and diesel. With corporate profits rising, benefiting immensely from the present festival and pent-up demand, the personal and corporate direct tax collections have shown a huge increase. The net direct tax collections during the first half of the current financial year stand at rupees 5.7 lakh crores, a jump of 74%. And the monthly GST collections have crossed rupees 1.1 lakh crores now for the third successive month in the month of September 2021. It is expected that if this buoyancy continues in the GST collections, then they can touch a monthly collection figure of about 1.5 lakh crores a month next year, as against the present figure of just about 1.15 lakh crores per month. At this rate, the government expects that the total tax collection during the current financial year will surpass the budgeted figure of 22.2 lakh crores for this year by rupees 2.5 lakh crores. That could be the kind of excess in collections going by the present trend. And further, with the hope that the government has finally broken the privatization and disinvestment jinx through the sale of Air India, it is expected that proceeds from the monetization of government assets this year will also copiously fill the coffers of the government treasury during the financial year ending on 31st March 2021. The government finances are expected to be in a much better state by the end of the current financial year, and the only thing that can spoil the party for it is if at all a debilitating third COVID wave comes back. While that's a benign and bright outlook of finances of the government at the center, it is not quite so in the case of government and the states. As per a recent report, the financials of the states are certainly not looking as good as that of the center, but that there has been a bit of an improvement. A report in the Financial Express says that despite a quicker than expected economic recovery in India and better tax collections because of levies on auto fuels by the state governments, the financial position of the states is not yet expected to improve meaningfully or significantly. The report says that the pent-up demand seen in quarter 2 and quarter 3 of the last financial year could be actually missing in this year, or it may be of a much smaller magnitude, which will ultimately reflect on the revenue collections of the state governments. The rating agency ICRA reports that there has been a 34% jump in the tax collections of 20 states, aggregating to about 6.86 lakh crores during the current financial year. But that increase actually looks big only due to the low base effect benefit. The actual increase, if compared with the financial year 2020, is just about 5%, which is not quite as impressive as one may think. ICRA says that while the finances of state governments will improve, yet the overall improvement will be marginal, such that their fiscal deficit will be just a bit better at 3.4% during the current financial year, as against 3.9% during the last year. Moreover, if the central government stops paying the GST compensation to the states after June 2022, as per the current agreement between the center and the states, then the finances of many states, including the likes of Gujarat, Karnataka, and Punjab, also will be badly hit. It just reflects that the state of finances of state governments continues to be fragile. So while the going appears to be good for the central government finances, it is not quite so in the case of finances of the state governments, which continue to struggle and they are saddled with huge debt. And while things may be looking up for the government's coffers, it is not quite so in the case of the common man, says a report in the Mint. Joblessness is on the rise despite a pickup in the Indian economy. The report says that there has been a high rate of unemployment in 12 states and union territories of North India, which are contrary to the overall improvement in the job scenario in India, which we witnessed in the month of September 2021. The unemployment rate in these states in North India is in double digits, reflecting large parts of the economy that have been left out of the present growth and recovery. As against a national average of unemployment rate at 6.8%, the prevailing rate of joblessness in Delhi stands at 16.8%. In the case of Rajasthan, it is at 17.9%. Haryana's joblessness stands at 20.3%. In the case of Jammu and Kashmir, it is 21.6%. In the case of Jharkhand, it is 13.5%. And unemployment in Bihar stands at 10%, painting a grim scenario of the jobs there despite the revival and recovery in the overall Indian economy. The unemployment rate in Delhi has incidentally been rising continuously since the past 4 months. The reasons for the rise in joblessness there are because of a subdued revival in the core manufacturing sectors like automobiles, hospitality, textiles, apparel, trade, and cement. This lopsided situation is evident from the fact that while the IT, financial services, and food processing sectors added a sizable number of jobs, the textile sector, on the other hand, it lost 1 million jobs in September. Again, 1.5 million jobs were lost in the cement, tiles, glass, and brick sector, and the auto sector also lost 3.5 lakh jobs in the month of September. So while the finances are looking out for the central government in particular, and just a little bit in the case of state governments, the state of finances for the common man does not look so bright or promising, and the pattern is also pretty mixed. It is good in some sectors and states and not good for many others. While on the one hand, household finances stand depleted due to the missing jobs and livelihood, on the other, rising inflation is eroding their depleted state of finances even further. And while the COVID pandemic has only aggravated the state of joblessness, the fact is that unemployment has now been constantly on the rise since 2016, if we were to mark so. With the GDP growth rate having fallen year after year since 2016, jobs also have fallen in tandem with it, which explains why even the present recovery remains a jobless one. Now with the rural economy too getting devoid of jobs, the rural labor has been migrating to the urban areas in search of jobs, which explains also the rising joblessness in Delhi and other states. The fact of the matter is that if the scourge of unemployment is not tackled as a matter of a national priority, then even the present improvement in government finances will not last very long and it will tend to taper off, eliminating any chances of a long term high growth rate for the Indian economy. Let us remember the basic fact is that the government finances are finally a sum total of household and business sector finances. And only when the aggregate finances of the households become robust will the government finances also become robust. And that certainly implies that we need to provide jobs, we need to provide livelihood, and it is they that will in turn provide finances to the government. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.